Hello there and welcome to this video where we're going to be talking about what a student needs to get into college. And it's not just talking about academics and extracurriculars and all those sort of things. So stay tuned to find out just what that is. All right, so parents and teenagers, what we're going to talk about today, what you need to know is how to show colleges that you are ready for the workload. You want to be able to show that you're motivated. You want to be able to kind of tell your story, demonstrate emotional intelligence, and then make sure your mindset's right. So you have internally what you need to be for you to be ready emotionally. All those things we're going to delve into coming right up. So let's talk about being ready for the work. That's what colleges want to know, but you also need to know that. And readiness to do the work is not necessarily the end result. The end result is usually a byproduct of other things like having good work study habits, about being able to be focused, learning how to manage your emotions, being able to take care of stress, because so often stress interferes with your ability to perform academically. You panic and get all nervous and intense about taking tests. That sort of thing is going to elevate your performance and show to you as well that you have what it takes to do well in college and to do that workload, being able to solve problems, to work with others. These are things that, generally speaking, the byproduct is academic success, right? Being able to manage your time and your space, manage the clutter in your mind, learning how to unclutter those sort of things, right? Those things, if you are working on those in high school, may not have, like, you might not be doing as well as you'd like academically because you're training your mind to do these things so that by the time you get to college, things are going to go a little bit better, if that all makes sense to you guys, right? It's a process, and that process of developing your intellectual capability is the end byproduct of better grades and better test scores. The next piece to this about what you need is you need that motivation, and you need to be able to show that your motivation. And where does motivation come from? Well, we have external motivation, right? Rewards, recognition, right? Or even the negative side of that, consequences. If I don't, this bad thing's going to happen, or I'm going to miss out on this, or whatever it is. So it's that carrot and stick idea. Those are external forces, and they can help. But what the most powerful motivator of all is internal, right? When you really know what you want. So that's what you need to do. You need to figure that out. One of those most powerful internal motivators is what you most value most, right? So this idea, I want to go to college, and I want to get a good job, and I want to get this degree and this sort of thing. I want to experience college. I want that, those memories, all that. You need to attach those things to your highest values. You need to link those internally in your own mind, right? There are processes for doing that, but it begins with knowing what those values are, being clear on what those are, and then stepping back and understanding the connection between that goal of yours and those highest values, right? And then those things that you think you want, values words like recognition and prestige and just things like that. Value words, you really want to understand those, connect with those. That's where the internal motivation comes. And when you have that, you're locked in. As far back as 2006, there was a study that was done that showed that emotional intelligence is a greater predictor of success than IQ. So developing emotional intelligence, that ability to relate to people and understand your own emotions and to relate to people from an emotional level, that's true human connection, that true human spirit. Developing that is something that you really need. And you don't just need that for getting into college. That is a lifetime skill to develop. And it is deeply connected to your mindset, right? The beliefs that you have about people and relationships and that human element are going to drive that ability to connect with people on an emotional level. Learning how to manage your own emotions, right? And the beliefs you have around things like stress, which is going to impact how you handle those situations, all impact your relationships. It all impacts how you are going to react and understand people. Those are skill sets that you need to learn and develop and train. They're really important, as I said, long-term success, not just in college, but in life. I have now repeated in a number of videos, which the more often something's repeated probably should be an indication of the importance of that. So once again, I'm going to be talking about how important it is for you to know your story and communicate it, right? So you need to really get in touch with yourself. It was Aristotle who said that the beginning of wisdom is to know yourself. Well, that's this whole idea with your story. When you can tell your story and connect people on an emotional level, it has tremendous power in a lot of different ways. It's what hooks people in. It's what sells you to them that you are going to be a fit for college, right? This is not college related, but it's a recent experience that my own son had in the power of storytelling. I had an opportunity to bring him along with me to get to meet one of the top public speakers, motivational speakers in the world today. He's in the Speaker Hall of Fame, and we were at an intimate setting at somebody's house in Utah, and getting mentored by this public speaker, Dan Clark. And my son was there. And he's 24 years old, and his story that he shared with his message, what needed to be learned from it, the whole story arc and element. When he shared that with a group of, a number, there's about 10 really successful entrepreneurs there and all, they all connected with him on a much more personal level. They'll tell you that, right? He got that feedback. That's the power of knowing your story and needing to get in touch with it so you can share it with people. That last piece I want to talk about, and this is really for the teenagers out there, would be, what if you don't feel ready? All right. You want to analyze it a little bit, right? What is it that you don't have or you don't think you have that you think you need, right? So when you begin to kind of do that self-reflection part, now you can begin to develop kind of a plan of action, how you get what it is you think you need in order to be ready for this end goal. Now, I don't know what that plan of action might be. For some people, they need to go and work for a little bit, experience the world a little, and then they realize, oh, I'm ready. A good friend of mine, when he got through high school, he went into the Marine Corps. That's what he felt he needed. He was planning to go to college at some point, but at that point in his life, that Marine Corps option seemed like a good fit. He did go back to college when he got out of the Marine Corps, went on and earned his PhD and is a psychology professor at Clemson University today. But initially, he didn't feel like college was where he was at that point or at that time. There are lots of stories like that where the path is different, but you need to understand from yourself, when you say, I'm not ready, what does that mean to you? What does that look like? What's missing? Maybe it's something that's just related to your own fears, a mindset related thing that you can get some help with, right? It's an internal process that you need to just shift. Sometimes it might be experiences that you need. Whatever it is, you need to do some soul searching first to find out exactly what you think you mean by that so you can develop a plan of action. Well, that wraps up this particular video, and I encourage you to give us your own stories, your own advice, like this video, make these comments. That engagement helps all of us. So please, I encourage you to do that. Subscribe to our channel as well, and come back and see us in another video.